Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Retirement has played a big role in permanently altering the US economy. Welcome to our channel, everyone. I'll show you how retirement has essentially permanently changed the economy post pandemic, and I encourage you to share this video with individuals in your family, anybody who's considering retiring or who has retired, because I think it's important for us to be aware of these implications. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, is about the country, the economy, as well as our money. If you're not a subscriber of the Ignition Time community yet, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Please click like if you're a member of our community. Smash that like button. Welcome to our channel, everyone. So, retirements have played a huge role in permanently altering the shape of the US economy. In fact, for some, their retirement accounts have increased to such an extent and their home values have increased to such an extent that people now feel, hey, I don't even need to work anymore. On top of that, the expenses associated with a very simple work from home lifestyle are lower. This makes it financially feasible for people to retire early. Others are relying solely on Social Security without retirement accounts. So they don't even have big retirement savings. They don't have a lot of home equity, but thanks to Social Security, they can afford to just retire. In fact, a Washington Post analysis found that over 1.5 million more people retired in November 2021 than would have expected based on pre-pandemic trends. In other words, as a direct result of the pandemic, people decided to retire early. In fact, employment has actually declined in the last year among workers who are 55 or older at the start of the pandemic. Let's take a look at this image on your screen. Over 1.5 million more people have retired than would have expected prior to the pandemic. Take a look at this incredible image. The green line represents the actual number of people who retired, which is up to 51.1 million people. And the line below that, that straight line, which represents 49.6 million people, that was the pre-pandemic trend. This is incredible when you actually think about it. As a direct result of the pandemic, millions of people lost their jobs. There was a stimulus unlike anything the world has ever seen, because the American stimulus was the largest per capita in the whole world. And as a direct result of it, more and more people retired. In fact, younger people, those who are between the ages of 16 to 24 at the start of the pandemic, have actually returned back to work, but that's still not enough to balance out the number of older workers who have left. Now, let's take a look at this incredible image. This is the first time I've actually seen data like this. This represents how individuals of different age groups are responding to the job market after the pandemic. You'll start to see that depending on the age group, people either decided to get back to work or decided to drop out of the workforce completely. I'll walk you through it. I'll make this easy for you. Let's just jump right in. Take a look at those aged 16 to 19. More than 3 million additional individuals aged 16 to 19 are now back to work. And this represents the data that you see on your screen right now from November 2019 to November 2021 for those aged 16 to 19 actually shows you that prior to the pandemic, they weren't working as much. After the pandemic, more and more of them are back to work. We see the same trend in the age groups from 20 to 24. Again, there's an increase since November 2019. This represents individuals who have or wanted work in November 2019, and now those who either have work or want work. In other words, the younger individuals are saying, hey, I want to get back to work. Individuals aged 25 to 34, 200,000 less people working or wanting to get back to work. Individuals aged 35 to 44, 600,000 less people working or wanting to work since November 2019. And now take a look at the trends for the older population. Age 45 to 54. 1.4 million people fewer wanting to work or working relative to November 2019. Age 55 to 64, 3.6 million less people. Age 65 to 74, 2.9 million less people. Individuals age 75 and above wanting to work, I take my hat off to you. Gosh, I'm 43 years old. I want to be able to work when I'm 75 and above. Now, if you're working because you like to work and you enjoy your job, God bless you, that's incredible. If you're working because you have no other choice and you need the money, I get it. But individuals age 75 and above, 800,000 fewer people working, presumably because a lot of those individuals are relying on Social Security or relying on their retirement savings and on the value of their home. You can start to see that retirement is not the only force in the worker shortage. There are other reasons. Childcare is a reason. Safety is another reason. A simple desire not to work is a reason. Now remember, this is a personal decision. Whether you choose to work or not is entirely up to you. And many of us have become more picky, more selective about wanting to go back to work. We want an employer who respects us. We want to be paid well. We want some job flexibility. We want flexible schedules. We want to be able to work from home. And so there are a lot of requirements that the American worker has now. But the fact is, folks, this is a complex situation and it'll be hard to catch up. Why? Because the pool of potential workers has shrunk so dramatically that getting back to the number of people employed prior to the pandemic would require a significant amount of effort to connect job seekers and employers. Now, assuming more people don't start looking for work, this would require an unemployment rate of 2%, lower than at any point since measurements began back in 1948. What is the bottom line? Retirement has played a big role in individuals not wanting to get back to work. And as you can see in the images and the charts we showed you earlier in this episode of Ignition Time, courtesy of the Washington Post, by the way, we'll provide you with a link to that resource in the description section below. You'll start to see that retirement has resulted in a permanent shift in the US economy. People simply do not want to get back to work. And as a direct result, there's going to be a huge mismatch between the number of jobs available and the number of people working. And to get back to the pre-pandemic scenario would require an unemployment rate of 2%, something we have not seen since 1948, and it's something we are unlikely to see ever again. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think more and more people should get back to work, or do you think that those who chose to retire, regardless of their age, regardless of their reasons, should remain out of the workforce? Because the fact is, if they remain out of the workforce, the American economy is going to be permanently out of balance. Thank you so much for watching. Please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications. A ton of effort goes into the creation, the production, the editing of these videos. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.